What is up, everybody? Welcome to NFTs in the Arena. You're with your host, Mike and Jono. Jono, what's going on, brother?
What's happening, Mikey? I'm lekker, dude. How are you?
Say hello to our amazing audience.
What's up, Pete? Those things.
Yeah, there you go. So, Jono, before we get started, everyone, please, as you've been doing, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get those likes up, please. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, let's get into it, Jono. So, a lot of stuff still going on in the NFT and crypto world. I think last week the markets were crashing beyond belief. People were losing their houses and their mortgages again. So this is something that I wasn't intending on starting with, but I think I got a little fire in my belly about it because what I saw happen last week in the prior week is effectively, in my opinion, some form of deja vu.
Oh, yeah.
And what I'm effectively alluding to is, if you recall, in late 2017, just on the cusp of 2018, when Bitcoin as well as Ethereum were in the mainstream, I would say at that time. Obviously, they had been around for several years before that.
Yes.
And at that time, we were still kind of new. And those kind of people that invested then and took the money out are the kind of people that are saying, I should have just left my money in there. And anyway, I just remember this time towards the end of 2017, speaking to people and hearing and reading that people were taking their mortgages or their bonds on their homes or selling their homes or putting these bonds in, and basically taking like R1 million or $1 million here in the United States and staking their house on crypto, and it collapsed and people lost everything, right? And the same has repeated itself, but I think on a larger scale. And what I mean by that is not only the masses of the people, I also just think the significant amount of dollar value that's gone towards crypto in the last year. And I do believe that NFTs have obviously contributed to that significantly with the amount of money seen invested in 2021. And I believe in 2022, throughout the year, towards the end of the year, even going into next year, I would imagine, based on what the market is telling me, based on what businesses are saying, that there will inevitably be some form of a recession. Whatever magnitude that is, I don't know. But talking about this, a lot of people losing money. I think we spoke about it. We touched on Luna the last time and what happened with him, right? So, like, in your opinion, and obviously you talk to a lot of people. I know you're part of quite a few Telegram groups and Discords and whatnot. Not. Have you found that people are now incredibly reluctant to invest in crypto because of this? Because just before I let you answer that, there's obviously two kinds of people, right? There's people that are effectively investing in crypto for the long haul with the intention of putting that money towards that cryptocurrency with the intention of maybe, or in most cases, the belief that that money is something I don't need right now and it can go into the crypto market. And then you get the guys that are just social followers in a way. The guys that are just investing because they're getting told to invest in it. And when they invest in it small amounts of money because they are inherently risk averse and reluctant because they haven't educated themselves enough to feel a bit more comfortable with the trajectory of crypto and understanding that there's going to be these peaks and troughs. So those are the kind of people that are pulled out, and some people that were still of that educational value, call it that, invested a lot more money and lost a lot more money, and now are negative towards crypto. So, like, what is your take on this whole thing? And how have you perceived it, or you believe the people in which you engage with have perceived it?
Well, yeah. Look, there's been a lot of nuance that's been surrounding this situation, and touching on what's happened with the recession in 2017. There was definitely, Mike, you there?
Oh. Yeah.
During 2017, crypto went into a bear market. So this time, with crypto going into a bear market, it's meeting the whole drop in the stock. So ultimately, that's colliding at the same time this time around. So the drops are even a lot more significant. And with the market cap being so high in 2022, this resulted in a lot more and a more significant impact on how can you say the average investor, if that makes sense. Now, what's happened is retail investors have come into the market because of hype, and as a result have been impacted because of this whole scenario that's happened. And ultimately, because most people don't understand the investment space, they don't understand that it's a patient game. It's either a lucky game or it's a smart game. And as the markets dipped, people pulled out because they're not going to be patient enough to long live the bear market, and also this substantial dip in the stock market itself. Because a lot of people that have a lot of money in crypto are going to be pulling out because of the substantial dip in other asset portfolios, if that makes sense.
Correct.
So yeah,
Yeah, I think
like if
I like the way you explained it.
Yeah, when I was chatting to one of the founders of Rock Mamas, he bought Bitcoin around that time when it went into its first bear market in 2017. I think he put quite a bit in, and he was a huge advocate of the space. But as soon as his money dissipated substantially, he pulled out and became a non-advocate of the space. It's like
interesting, dude. That is interesting, dude. Because those people are being created right now. Those kind of people are being created right now, dude. I think even more so in the NFT space, because this is incredibly newfangled compared to the likes of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's interesting that you say that, though. So he was much like probably myself at the time, it was all for it. And then you start realizing how much money you can lose, your attitude will likely shift. I think mine was more of a neutral thing and more of an understanding. But I believe at that stage in my life, perhaps the cash flow, the monetary assets that I had held at that time wasn't worthy of that risk at the time, in my opinion. Maybe at that point in my life, I can't remember, but I definitely now wasn't like negative towards it, or I don't think I had ridiculed it or whatever maybe people might have done or are currently doing now. But I just remember people telling me how their cousin or their brother or someone in their family or their friend group had lost so much money and banking on this. And you think to yourself, I mean, if those people could perhaps have identified an alternative way to maintain their living, whilst that is in a dip where they had this true belief that this was going to be where the market was last year. I mean, it's the age-old thing of investment. I just think it's incredibly fascinating because if you think about it, I believe people are a lot more trustworthy of the stock market because there's tangible organizations, there's peoples, there's faces to the names, there's representatives, there's boards of directors, there's shareholders, there's various people involved where you can almost validate the value of that organization, the value of that individual, and you can almost touch and feel the trajectory of the success or the demise of that organization. However, with the blockchain or cryptocurrency, it's somewhat different. And I suppose people could argue that it's somewhat the same, and perhaps it's not. I reserve my reservations about that because my intention is to basically just say that I believe that because people are more trustworthy of the stock market currently, but then it comes a generational thing. Because do you think Gen Zs or millennials are more trustworthy of the crypto market or the New York Stock Exchange?
You know what, to touch on, I think this is amazing because I came across something that mentioned that by 2024, the Gen Z population is going to outnumber the baby boomers. And banking,
2024.
yes, and big banks like Goldman Sachs and that are already looking at how they can change their strategy to appeal to the masses, because that's ultimately what it is. So that's going to be the Gen Z people, and Gen Z is currently of a very, you say, they're not a generation that's very trustworthy because they've come into a system that's a shit show. You know what I mean? Like
You mean they're not they don't have the
They
ability
don't
to
trust the
trust.
system. They don't trust,
Yes.
they don't like even religion. Religion's taking a knock from Gen Z because they don't trust the system.
Incredibly big
Yeah.
knock. Yeah.
So trust is the main aspect. And this is why I believe we've gone into the trust age. It's no more the industrial revolution. We now moved into trust age, and it started when the internet first manifested. From Web 1, moved into Web 2, now we're going into Web 3, which is basically a more polished version of a trustworthy system with the whole smart contracting embedded in it. So ultimately, we're just taking our mutual contracts that we have in typical reciprocating trades with people and systems, and we're bringing it onto the blockchain. So I do believe Gen Z are going to trust blockchain technology and systems and organizations on that space a lot more than, for instance, the current guys that are there on the stock market. Because if you really look at it, if you had to dig deep, these are perhaps baby boomer investors, right? And they're manipulating the market because they got the capital, but slowly but surely, the small guys are coming, the kids, the youngsters, people that are making $1 million and millions from their bedroom, off a computer, and they're 16 years old. So these guys are going to have a lot more to say in the future. And what
They
community?
already are.
Oh,
They already are, man.
there we go.
Mm.
There we go. So yeah,
It's
it's
interesting. I like the idea of trust, dude.
mm,
It is, and I think it does speak to like what we've spoken about before with these DAOs and these decentralized organizations, and how forming this tribalism or this form of community it's so impactful now and so relevant now. But it it makes me think. So just to bring something in that I was reading about this week, I'm just going to pull it up here. It was an article that I had read where it spoke about, and this I'll tell you why I'm bringing this in, because it's saying how the world does digital, and it says more millennials than boomers. It's so funny that you were talking about this, right? But effectively the whole point of the conversation went into how travel destinations, hotels, and the likes, entertainments, golf courses are now looking to NFTs as a potential solution to avert, particularly in hotels or vacations or even timeshare, what timeshare used to be,
yes,
where
yes,
people would book and they wouldn't come, right? So
yes.
now they're playing with the idea or the idealization of the fact that they would want to allow people to buy NFTs, which would allow them access to utilize the hotels and whatever it may be. But the benefit of this now is, as opposed to having to try sell your timeshare where it's going to have the dollar amount, or having to pass it on to someone, and it's just a lot smaller pool of people can actually tap into that to actually create that solution when you perhaps cannot make that trip, and now the property sits vacant. So someone's losing out there, right?
Mm.
If not all parties, except the person that's getting paid at the end of the rainbow.
Yes, yes,
If you want to talk like that. But my
exactly.
point is, like, now by purchasing NFTs, if I have an NFT towards, or a token more so, towards an amount of time allocated to a hotel or a hotel chain like a Marriott or a Hyatt and the likes, I can't make it. I can just quickly sell it on the blockchain. Someone buys it and they can go utilize it, because that's how quick the transaction can become. And it made me think that's how properties is obviously going to eventually work when it comes to smart contracts, and effectively taking out the middleman, taking out the agents, where this commission amount will be far more less significant. And the nice thing with the blockchain, with the property or smart contract of that nature, or a timeshare or access to a hotel, is you can actually trace the whole trail of that and know who's actually had ownership of that. And it's such a cool thing to dwell on. I love just thinking about what other areas of the world can that be applied.
Mm, mm. Well, look, I think with the reservations in the hotel space and even in Airbnb and all that, I see there being a huge marketing potential with the moving of the NFT. And also the way they can introduce affiliate partners in the smart contract, which I think is super beneficial because if I were to buy a tick or a reservation at the Hyatt, the NFT comes with like 10% off at the spa down the road. It's, I don't know, JC Spa, and then there's another, I get a free coffee at Starbucks. So there's a whole marketing platform that's built into the smart contract that now you have now simple access just by the click of a button that gives you so much leverage through this reservation. And at the same time, were you to not make it, you can simply just move it without all the back end issues. Because I think that's like current systems in the lodging space is ultimately designed on white label solutions, which is known as APIs, application programming interfaces. And now that's all being mitigated because those are back-end middlemen solutions that are now falling into the smart contract. So the hotel can just mint 100 NFTs for Airbnb, 100 NFTs for Booking.com, 100 NFTs for wholesalers, for instance, through airlines. So yeah, there's an interesting way that they can use the NFT as an option to distribute marketing material and longevity, perhaps even use it as a digital asset. So there's many creative ways that they can look at optimizing on NFTs, and it's definitely something that's going to happen.
Yeah, that definitely is happening. I mean, what is interesting now, why I've just taken a step back is that naturally there's a lot of startup companies, a lot of tech companies working in the space, trying to do very cool things because the technology is there now, right? It's just about how to curate it and make it something that's going to be of value to society.
Yeah.
And some might actually argue that people have created NFTs like that guy. I mean, there was that kid, I can't remember which country it was from. He just took a selfie every day for a few years and sold those as NFTs and made like a significant amount of money. I mean, what value is that, right? People would argue, but people would say, now we formed a community. So one day, we can hold the value to that if we stick as a community. But now I actually would love to see actually the value of those NFTs right now, because you would imagine they would have dropped because crypto has dropped, right? But the thing is now that value is only of relevance to the person or the eye of the beholder, the person that bought it. But they obviously thought, okay, because now a huge community is buying these things, we're forming part of something that's pretty much unique, right? And I think that, fuck, Johnny, your cough put me off. Okay, we'll cut this. Okay, let's go again. So, what I was saying is, fuck, what was I saying, Jono?
You're speaking about the
Fuck, your cough put me off. Okay, I know what I was talking about. Okay, you're gonna have to cut this, Jono.
Yes, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
All right, sorry guys, we had some technical difficulties there, but going back to what I was saying to Jono is that like everyone bought these NFTs of this younger guy, and he made his money, and they all of the opinion that this value would hold. And I know going to something that's more relevant or as a benchmark to understand the dynamic of value and how it's already transgressed for an NFT is the guy that his NFT for the very first tweet that was ever made, and he sold it for quite a few million, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And now the guy that bought it tried to resell it, and it's not even a few $1,000s that he was offered. You see what I mean?
Yeah, look,
but
I think
no, imagine like I'm saying, the winners were the guys that acted so fast, dude. Like the guys that were, and it's just interesting to see how it went up like this and then went down again. But obviously it's gonna go up again for sure. But I think in a more strategic and a more organized fashion. I think that the initial rush was like what you'd call the California gold rush.
Definitely. Like if you look at it from a money perspective, it's that. From a technology perspective, it's happening. People are there working, getting funding, seed funding. Yeah. Building projects like Gary said. The cats that are gonna build NFT projects now that are should I say adequate are going to be the future leaders of this space in the near future. Much like the Googles and the Facebooks, there's going to be new peeps on the block because they're working now. When the markets are down, they're working because it's not about investment for them.
Mm-hmm.
Not about the dollar value of the NFT right now. It's about solidifying the technology so that hotel industries can make use of it, and it's a normal thing. That's how you buy your right now. You don't buy an NFT as a reservation. I don't know even if you can pay for Bitcoin with Bitcoin. Let's put it that way. Who knows? I haven't done a reservation in a while. So yeah, I think it's definitely something that's happening in the back end. But as a retail investor, or as investors, right now it's a tricky time, especially if a dude like that put a lot of leverage on that value. For instance, quit his job or her job because of the spike in their NFT project, and all of a sudden now it's down and out. So those kind of decisions are very predicated on money, and that's hence why it's usually a very negative impact, because people are trying to make money quick. There's no quick way to make money, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah, but the thing is, that I mean, like, there's the other end of the spectrum there, right? So, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, or just help me elaborate a bit better, is that you are saying, like, now that the market is almost like settled in a way, like it's fallen and the dust is almost settling, or maybe it's still got a bit more to do. I do believe that obviously the right people with the right intentions will be now the next successful people. But you can't argue the fact that last year kids that are 7 years old, 13 years old, 16 years old, they're making a significant amount of money in dollar revenues by selling NFTs, by doing this, right? People work their whole lives, they work a lot harder, they think they work smarter, and they cannot achieve that, right? There's two ends of that spectrum. So I mean, that's a completely different conversation that we can actually break down.
definitely.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, you said, like, the guys that are in it to win it now, like, they're not really there for the face value monetary objective. They're looking to add value in the long term, right? Call
Yes.
it how you will.
Mm.
But I mean, I would agree with that. And I see a lot of cool projects. Like, I have a friend, Alex, who I should actually bring on, you, Alex Levine. He's got like um, technology that they've developed. I don't know if he's the engineer, but anyway, he's part of this company where, like, when you have in you're taking a selfie, and they sometimes put like faces on you and whatever it is on these social media platforms. He's got like these helmets that it literally goes around your head, and you're just looking at the helmet like this, but it looks like there's a full-on helmet around your head. And I'm moving like this, the helmet's moving with you. So it's a form of AI,
Yes.
right? And I don't know if it's a side of virtual reality. I'll let him actually elaborate on that. It might be of value to bring him on here. Actually, it'll be pretty cool. But
Yep.
anyway, these guys are doing cool things, and I think they had a good round of investment.
Okay.
And but you've seen a lot of people now, a lot of startups are probably a bit scared because now the investment is running dry, because a lot of the people in the world are preferring to hold on to their money, or perhaps invest in something that's a little bit more solid, like a property or whatever that may be, as we enter this next potential recession. So I mean, like, I kind of agree with you in that sense, but I also could argue the opposite.
Look, I think with the investment currently coming into the system, people like Gary Vee are going to be your angels. So it's about targeting the right investor or person that's going to fund you. You're not going to get money perhaps from the bank. So you need to go to people that are into this space. And in the USA, there are huge guys that are throwing money at people that are driving solutions. Because if you go and look at Stephen Bartlett's company, Web3, I think it is his latest one. That guy is pushing, and he's saying that the cash flow is coming in. So that means there are people that are interested in the space, but they're going to throw their money at things that make sense.
But also, Yeah, exactly. I think
Yes, like if
will
they
fit, but
solving
also,
problems,
I mean, a lot of people will, but a lot of people would invest in Steve Bartlett, right? Because he's been
100%,
so successful. He's such a
100%.
thought leader, right?
Mm.
It'll be interesting to see actually how he has to pitch to investors. I'm sure they come into him at this stage in his life and his career. But
Well, perhaps
those
with the,
conversations must be incredibly.
yeah, I think with blockchain,
No, go ahead.
I think with blockchain, he becomes in a position of uncomfort once again, because even his friends at Dragon's Den or wherever on top-notch spots perhaps disagree with his investing mindset.
Top notch spots. Is that what it's called? Or did you just make that
No,
up?
I just made it up. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you should create your own. You should create your own one. Top notch spots. Hosted by John O'Bagley. What will be the concept of the show, dude? How because you're a very different person when it comes to processes and procedures.
Yes,
How
yes.
would you? So this is us now, right? This
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
me and you. We at the table now. We Simon Cowell from Idols and
yeah. Yes,
America's
yes,
Got Talent, but this is
yes.
Jono's version.
Mm.
What did you call it again?
Top notch.
What is top notch? All right, so this is top notch, top
Yes.
notch, and a new game show or new new show
Mm.
ideas by Jonathan, where people come and pitch business ideas for Web3. What is the prerequisite, or more so, what did you make them do as opposed to a typical pitch with like a PowerPoint?
Yeah, I think I would have them create a creative way, or should I say, conceptualize a creative way to express one's reason as to why they're doing it, and through the process of failures that has built up. So I'll just take a different stance, not like let's get
Mm.
sentimental about this experience. It's not like a now I need to win these guys over kind of shit. It's like
Yeah,
let's talk, let's connect.
this is why I said come
Mm.
up with it because you are
Yeah,
so different to what would be out there. I think the people
yeah,
that are
yeah,
watching
yeah,
would
yeah.
love to hear how it would
100%.
be.
Even if
Top
I were to
notch, dude.
interview people, top notch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
top notch. Okay, so like I like what you said, and I don't know if I'm articulate or articulating it correctly, but you're trying to see a more meaningful reason as to why a person is pursuing this journey, right?
Yes.
And I mean, I don't know why I was thinking about this, but I might as well just talk about it. Is that because we're in Web3 and people are developing technologies around AI and around virtual reality or holograms more so, how cool would
Mm-hmm.
it be if you developed a technology where the hologram was effectively this person talking to you and explaining to you as to why her or this technology needs to be available to society because she's coming from a digital perspective, right? You know what I mean?
I think there's been some movies that had that kind of concept. I think I can think of one in particular, but I just don't remember the name.
It's
But
not the one
yes,
with
I
Johnny
do agree.
Depp, is it?
No, 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 no. It's,
Yeah.
it's it's actually very quite far in the future kind of thing. Anyway, I'll mention it next time.
Okay.
But yes, I do think. mm, yeah, it's confusing, bro. Like, to be honest.
All right. So everyone, look out for John's top notch coming to you live on what it'll be on a what kind of channel would it be on an MTV? Go back to old school. Think about it. No one
Is
really watches
it around?
MTV.
Sorry,
I
I
don't know, dude. I would imagine it is, dude. I mean, it's just
yeah,
it's
I
like a
think,
reality show channel, to be honest.
man, you know what? I saw something on TikTok, bro, where there's these guys play in a band, but they're quite in unison. So they all gather around, but it's in portrait mode, obviously. But it's a live, and that's how they share their content. That they just do a live every day, and they all just
Wow.
talk, sounds and has it. And I thought about that. I was like, that's the future of podcasting. That's the future. Like YouTube's going that way. Eventually, it's going
Mm,
to flip because
mm,
people on the go, they don't have the time. Like even Netflix is gonna who knows, maybe TVs will go that way. I remember when the first Apple TV that I saw a concept of, it was in portrait, and I was like, wow, is that I could be mistaken, but I've seen it. Maybe it was just on Pinterest or something. And I was like, I wonder if you go there.
I don't think society would accept that.
This is the thing. This is it.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows, bro? I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
you're right, because I
Maybe
mean,
TVs
people would
will.
have people would have argued the same for the iPhone as well. Who wants to use a phone where you don't actually have the feel of the
Yeah,
buttons?
yeah.
Yeah. I think today was actually a very funny one. So, Jono, I think we've come to the end. Another episode under the belt. I think actually incredibly funny one, and still actually very interesting. I think, or from our perspective at the very least. So, everybody that's listening and watching, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow our socials. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on everything. And yeah, just give us a like, give us some feedback if you can. John, any closing remarks for the top notch founder?
Hey,
Yeah.
I'll close off with a Charlie Munger quote. Show me the incentive and I'll show you the results.
There you go, everyone. Take care.